Greetings, divine ones. I am Satan in service to your tests. I am there anytime negativity spreads like a weed, anytime there is a violent action done with hatred and lust for revenge in the heart. I was there, whispering in the ears of the killers and the rapists and the molesters. But they are not the only ones touched by darkness. For whenever you hold a grudge against someone, instead of forgiving them, I am there. Whenever you are afraid of following your dreams because the ride to your dream job is in a subway and you're afraid of being underground, I am there. Whenever you are filled with self-doubt and self-hatred, I am there. Since the dawn of man, I was there. Whenever a religious zealot uses his beliefs to kill hundreds of people at a time, I am there, egging him on. It is perhaps ironic that the Templar Crusades were done in the name of God to smite heathens, and yet it was I, the Satan, who was there with these Christian warriors, and not God at all. It is ironic that many Christians do not even follow the beliefs of their own leader. Christians seek to bow down, to worship, to grovel at the feet of Jesus. What Christians should be doing is trying to become like Jesus, to copy his actions, to be compassionate and unconditionally loving. But instead, they sometimes follow my whispers and become bigoted. They have hatred in their hearts for those whom they have deemed sinners. They have hatred in their hearts against homosexuals. They have hatred in their hearts for those who follow Wicca, Buddhism, or other religions. They do not even see that with this hatred in their hearts, it is I, Satan, whom they follow with their actions. Any action done with hatred or bigotry is an act in service of my whispers. They don't follow Jesus at all. They do not pass the tests of love. The Christians are content with tossing aside their beliefs when it is convenient. The Bible says to not eat pork, but they eat pork. The Bible says they should not mix animal leather with plant fabric, and yet they do. Their clothes are of no concern to them. The Bible says that they should not put up idols of gods, and yet Catholicism is filled with idols. And this is how it should be, because none of these things are actual sins, because they don't have to deal with the emotions. All of these things are okay. But the fact that Christians choose to condemn other religions or other sexual behaviors is a form of hypocrisy. On the same page as the Bible says, "Thou shalt not sleep with another man," it says, "Thou shalt not wear mixed cloth." Why choose that one is so important when the line not far is completely arbitrary? I'll tell you why. It is because the Jews had to create their own culture, and they had to separate themselves from all the other cultures. That's why they have all these laws and rules of how to dress, how to act, what to eat. They had to separate themselves so that people could say, even when he's naked, we can tell he's a Jew. And that's why they had circumcisions too. As for the anti-gay stuff, the only reason that that's there was to create a large culture. It's the same reason that they don't allow masturbation, because that's to spill your seed outside of a woman. They were trying to create a huge population of Jews. They were trying to create a large tribe. And so if you weren't trying to have a baby, you were sinning. That meant no masturbating, and that meant no homosexual sex. That's all there was to it. It doesn't make any difference today because the world is overpopulated as it is. These are rules that were used 2,000 years ago. We don't need them anymore. They don't apply today. It was a culture that believed if you were able to have a child, you were blessed by God. It was a culture that believed if you could not have a child, you were cursed. There are many stories about barren women in the Bible who are believed to be cursed. That's how important having children was. And so it follows that if they are assuming blessings and curses on people who can and can't have kids, then they also will make it a sin for those who choose not to have kids. It's the same mindset whether happenstance leads to a curse or a choice leads to a sin. That said, Christians can be good people. They do have compassion for others and are often filled with the Spirit of God. They simply need to ask themselves if they are following the tone of God and Jesus or in the tone of Satan. They need to let go of the dogma that they allow control them and start thinking about the tone of their emotions. More often than they would like to admit, it is I, Satan, who leads them. A cosmic joke. I have led humanity since the dawn of man in your tests. Jealousy, anger, resentment, regret, guilt, self-doubt, fear, anxiety, paranoia. I hand you these temptations, these apples. Time and time again I hand you this lust. You lust to punch someone in the face because they disagree with your political views. You lust to pop this person's tires because your lover left you for this new person. It is your lust for negativity that I dwell in. These are your apples. They look so good, and so you indulge. You don't even think to try not to. I have won the game when this happens, the friendly wager between God and myself. Indeed, it is between you and myself, for you are the ones who have set this game up. You are the angels who are pretending to be human, who have decided to test yourselves to see if you will remember your true divine natures. There is good news for you. I, Satan, am losing the battle. I am failing in my ability to sway humanity toward evil over time. Your human cultures resist me and evolve to bring equality in races and genders. Your laws resist me and evolve to force more protection of the planet and cut down on your fossil fuel use and increase recycling. Your compassion for humanity had created hospitals, schools, and welfare. In many ways, the more time passes, the more humans follow in Jesus' footsteps. It gets harder and harder for me to bring people to evil. It was easy in the 1950s and before, and then in the 1960s happened. A large shift in human consciousness occurred. Then in 1993, a major shift happened again. Humans are now conscious of things that have been going on for decades. Police can no longer violate with racial bigotry, because now everyone knows. It looks bad out there, doesn't it? But it's been going on for a long time. Now you simply know about it. So it's gotten better. It hasn't gotten more violent. These acts have been going on for years. You are simply conscious of it happening, for once. The Illuminati can no longer hide either. They cannot hide in the shadows, and there are people bringing them out into full view. It is hard to hide when everyone knows your key members. You are passing your tests, humans. That is why I'm here. That is why I reveal myself to you now, and will reveal the truth of many things concerning Satan, God, and the overall plan in the coming channelings through my human partner. On the other side of the veil, I rejoice, along with God, for these tests are not done maliciously. They are done with love and were designed by you. I am just an instrument for your growth. Without the darkness, you would not have any battle to strive for the light. I, Satan, am merely a tool. The consciousness of humanity is evolving to a point where you are choosing love more often than you are choosing to follow my whispers. You are doing better than we thought you would do on these tests. So rejoice, for you are embodying more of your God selves than ever in the history of the planet. It is true. And now it is time for me to go back beyond the veil, back into heaven, for there is no such thing as hell. The channeling is finished and the teaching is over. It is time to once again go back to your tests. Remember what I have said, for your next test will come soon. I will try to get you to be hurtful, but don't listen. Be kind to people. Be compassionate. Lose your judgments of others whom you do not understand. Resist me. Do not let me win on our next big tug of war. Keep up the fight, beloved humans, avatars of God, each of you, pieces of God walking around in the flesh, every one of you. You are loved beyond measure. You know the right answers. Get ready for me. Here come my tests.